Welcome to Marvel and Mysteries. My name is Tracy. I would like to invite you to subscribe to matrixofjustice.org if you enjoy blog content and video content. You'll find both there. And if you are just loving videos and that's all you want, then please subscribe to the channel on YouTube so that you can get more words to the wise, resources, education, and bite-sized pieces to help you in your walk with the Lord. And today we're talking about a mystery of dreams. And it's like, do dreams just come from within us? Are they coming from the Lord? Where are they coming from? Is it just us processing out our days every day? Is there more to it than that? And I'm going to be talking about this from the perspective of being a follower of Jesus Christ. And that is important because my lens for all of this and the framework for all of this is the Lord is my source. The Lord is the one that I go to. He's my king. I bow before him every day. I'm not ascribing, as a believer in Jesus, I'm not ascribing to the way that the secular world would interpret dreams, because those interpretations, if I go back and I think of dreams that I had when I was younger, before I truly followed Jesus, the interpretations given to me by those types of dream dictionaries that you would find online took me in a different direction. It didn't take me to where God wanted me to go. It took me into all of the ways to be fearful and basically paranoid about the trajectory of my life based on the meanings behind the symbols that I looked up. So I just want to be clear about that before we get started, that this is the looking at these through the Bible, looking at dreams through the Lord Jesus Christ. So I just want to make that clear. And a couple of things that we want to also keep in mind is that the Lord created good works for us to do. He purposed for us to do good works. And as a matter of fact, we are his own handiwork. It says in Ephesians 2:10, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." So there are things that he has prepared for you in advance. We are his handiwork. He created us, and he has intentions and a will for our lives. And we get to choose it freely, but there's a desire that he has for us and things for us to accomplish that nobody else can do. And number 2, Thessalonians 5:16 through 18. "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God for your life." If we keep these two factors in mind for most of our walk, that we will have a much easier go of it. So we want to first get into what are the sources of dreams that we have. And I see this as 3 sources. You can have God as the source of your dreams, the demonic realm or the enemy as another source, and then you can be another source of that. So of course, with the Lord, his dreams that he is giving you, those are going to help build your faith. They're going to bring understanding to you, wisdom, encouragement, direction. If you're off course, it's going to bring course correction to you. It's going to bring revelation, wisdom, and it's going to train you up in obedience so that you can be really effective in spiritual warfare as well. And he'll show you the ways in which attacks are coming so you can deal with those for yourself and on behalf of your whole household. The enemy is going to kind of go the opposite, of course, of that. The demonic realm dreams are going to be intended to lead you away from the works that God has for you, to lead you away from the will of God, to be in thanksgiving and prayer and all of that and rejoicing. It's going to lead you away from that as your common how you are, your nature every day. It's going to try to take you into running from your call, off of your call, trying to tempt you away from your call, and oftentimes to lead you into terror. And again, it's to try to get deception into your life and to try to either scare you away from what the Lord would like you to do, or to take you off into some kind of, again, like some kind of sin or something like that to get you pushed away from what the Lord would have for your life. And then, of course, the third source is you. There is so much that can happen that we can actually not even conscientiously bring up ourselves. And this can be likened to medical students. If they're studying a particular disease or something like that, they're just so focused on it, they're learning about it, they're studying it, that when they do that, they can actually start to manifest symptoms of that disease or disorder, whatever it is, in their own bodies because they're so focused on it. And there's a scripture that I always think of when it comes to this. It's a spiritual principle. This is, Jesus said this. It's in Mark 4:24. Consider carefully what you hear, he continued. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you and even more. Now, in that, Jesus is talking about the lamp, and nobody brings a lamp into a room and puts it under something. It's there to be seen. Whatever's hidden is going to be exposed. It's going to be revealed. But that principle is there that whatever and he says, let those who have ears hear. But the measure that you are applying to a particular thing, it is going to be measured back unto you. It's the same thing when you are driving a particular kind of car and it's a new car. All of a sudden, you see that same car everywhere. It's like everybody's driving the same vehicle. It's just your focus has shifted on something. So there's a lot that can come out of those dreams. And those dreams that are coming more from the soul, that can be from things that we're maybe dwelling on or too focused on. And for some, it can be the kind of dreams that can lead to a puffing up, or kind of like self-aggrandizement. Those sorts of things might be the fruits that come from that, like, oh, you are the greatest kind of thing happening in the dreams. And so it's just important to know that there are those different sources, and your body, even just different changes in your body can bring about dreams as well. So it's always good to know what is the source of the dream that you're having, because then that helps you to know how to deal with it, how you're praying into it, if there are things that you need to completely, utterly break away from in your thinking, or even adjustments that you may need to make in your health and in your lifestyle. Overall, there's about 20 different categories of dreams that folks have, and I just kind of want to go over a few of the more common ones to bring a little bit of understanding to that, and then also a few examples so that you have something to kind of sink your teeth into a little bit. And then there's some really good resources for this. There's one I just want to point out very quickly, and this is based on the works of John Paul Jackson, and this is called The 20 Categories of Dreams, Understanding the Various Ways God Speaks Through Dreams. It's by Michael Weiss. Here is the, that's not too great of a cover. There you go. There you go. So I'll put a link to that underneath for you if you'd like to pick it up. It's a very helpful guide for you to be able to look through and digest quickly. And it's just going to help you with whatever the dreams that you have to kind of clearly identify and categorize. Though just know, like anything else, you can't pigeonhole a dream just into one thing. Sometimes dreams will find themselves in various buckets. So you don't have to have like a religious kind of thinking about dreams, like, oh, it's this kind of dream, but not that kind of dream. It can fit into a number of different buckets. This is just to help kind of get you started. So the first dream that I want to talk about are calling dreams. And it says in Matthew 22 that many are called and few are chosen. And you need a lot of patience, and you need to go through the training and the maturation process that the Lord would put you through. And so at the end of the day, there's many called to him. You're called. But when you're chosen, you have gone through that process of maturation. Now, I'm not saying you have to be, beautifully, wonderfully perfect at the other end of it. It's just that you're not cutting your training that God gives you. You're not cutting that off short. You're not short-circuiting that you're having the patience and the endurance in your walk to keep going. So that is what that is about. And Jacob's dream, this is from Genesis 28. This is what a dream will do, is it gives you that opportunity to respond in faith. So We're in Genesis 28. I am starting in verse 10. This is Jacob's dream at Bethel. Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Okay, that is a massive call. The Lord is calling into remembrance everything that he has already promised, and he's making it clear of what he is going to do through Jacob. And he's letting him know, I am going to be there for you, and I'm not going anywhere. I will not leave you until I have done all I have promised. And this is wonderful because Jacob has the response of faith. And so this is what he does. Like, he wakes up from the dream. And this is important also, just to note that if you wake up from a dream, if it's a waking dream and then boom, you come out of your sleep, it is really important to note that in a dream, because it has great spiritual significance that it literally woke you up out of your sleep. So in verse 16, when Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. So this is his processing as soon as he gets up. He has that fear of the Lord on him and is saying, well, surely this place is awesome and God is here. But here's his response to this. Early the next morning, Jacob took the stone he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. He called that place Bethel, though the city used to be called Luz. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I am taking, and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God, and this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house. And of all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. So this is Jacob responding in faith to the Lord and being called. And so if you have a calling dream, then you have a choice as to whether you are going to respond to that. If you're going to say yes to the Lord and you're going to set out in that purpose that has been designed for you, you can also say no. So that choice is up to you. God doesn't do the robot thing, so he's not going to tell you what to do. Number 2, warning dreams. Warning dreams are absolutely fantastic because they do just that. They give you a warning. The majority of dreams that you have are going to be about you as opposed to being about other people. Although God will make it clear if it is about someone else and it isn't for you. We need to learn the language of dreams and the symbolism of dreams. Just as an example, just because you dream of an ex-boyfriend, friend, husband, whatever, does not mean necessarily that you have some kind of like little flame that is still in there burning away. Most of the time, those are going to show you that there is an old habit that's trying to come back, an old way of thinking or something like that. So you need to start to learn the language of dreams and the symbolism of dreams so that you understand the context of what is being shown to you. So in warning dreams, the Lord is trying to show you something that you would need to correct in your walk. Maybe you're doing something that is wrong. There is a common dream, and I've actually heard John Paul Jackson talk about this, that people would write into him with dreams where their teeth are falling out. They might go to brush their teeth in the morning or something, and their teeth are literally falling out into the sink. And he was explaining that this is a symbolic dream to show you that when you lose teeth, you lose the inability to chew. You lose the inability to discern something properly, that the Lord is trying to show you, and that you need to look at your decisions in your life. Just kind of have a moment of inventory with yourself personally to see where he's trying to show you something and you're repeatedly missing it. And sometimes that can just be because of carnal types of desires that you're after, when he's trying to give you the heads up that this is not good to do this or to do that. So that would be an example of one of those, a warning type of dream, to bring that understanding to you that, okay, there might be something that's a little off track and God is trying to bring you back onto it. A warning dream that I had that dealt with my life specifically, I had called this dream the busy beaver, because in the dream, and not to get into the whole thing, there was the imagery of an alligator that was swimming, and on the snout of this alligator, there was a beaver that was running back and forth. It didn't stop moving. It was just going back and forth, up and down the snout of this gator. And this was a pictorial metaphor of my life. And this happens to a lot of people, where you just get so busy in your life with what you're doing and constantly running around and running to and fro that you lose sight of the fact of where you are. And in this case, in the dream, the beaver is on the snout of an alligator that can very easily just shift its head, and that beaver is going to be a snack, or take it into a death roll and just spin and twist and everything else. So it was a warning dream for me that I was too busy in my life. I was too busy with the things that I was doing to even notice the ground that I was standing on, which was on the snout of a gator. You know, it's just dangerous ground where you're going to get destroyed. So that helped me to say, okay, I need to slow down. I need to make sure that I'm prioritizing correctly, that I'm sitting with the Lord, I'm having my time with him, and that I'm not just constantly running. And you know what it's like too, even doing the most simple things, going to the grocery store. If you're going there to buy toothpaste and you go in there and other things happen, you run into people, there's distractions, people are texting you, calling you, you remember other things, oh shoot, I need to schedule for the car to be inspected, whatever it is. And then you find out, you get back home and you unpack everything, and you didn't buy toothpaste, but you spent, hundreds of dollars on other things, but no toothpaste, which is what you went in there for. It can be, simple things like that as well. So it's very important to pay attention to those warning dreams, at how the Lord is trying to correct you to get you back on track. Another kind of dream is an intercession dream. It is a call for you to pray. And sometimes this is for you, but oftentimes it's actually about somebody else altogether. And a recent intercession dream that I had, and this has nothing to do with the attempted assassination of President Trump. It just so happens that there's bullets and it was around, this time. But in this particular dream, I was looking at what looked like a vision board that had been created out of a piece of plywood. And there were different things that were attached to it. It almost reminded me of something that kids would do in elementary school, kind of. But there were different objects and things that were attached to this plywood that was painted gray. And one of the items that was on that board was a bullet that was piercing through it, and it actually had the date, and it had a little note, this one's for, and I won't say the person's name. And again, this had nothing to do with Trump. And so I see this in the dream, and I was standing in a room, and my family was there, and the individual that the bullet was intended for was also there. And I knew in the dream there was a date of when this bullet, whether it's a real bullet or some kind of a metaphorical one, the purpose was the murder of this individual, whether in life or just reputation, spiritually speaking, destroyed kind of a thing. But the date was on it, and I knew in the dream that I was past that date. So in other words, the individual the bullet is intended for is there in the room, so they are alive. It's past that date, but I also knew, as only you can in dreams because of just direct revelation, I knew who the individual was that actually created that evil gray vision board. So I was able to pray for the person who is trying to deal out whatever this assignment was that was coming against the other one, and pray for also the one that the bullet was intended for. And I can do that in faith and stay in faith that all will be well, but I still have a job to do. The Lord showed me, you need to pray this in. And so, but I had the outcome from the Lord because he clearly showed me in this dream that the individual would not die, whether that's physically, metaphorically, spiritually, you get what I'm trying to say, because they were alive, they're in the room with us. So that is an example of an intercession dream. You're being called to pray for a situation, and you may not have the wholeness of the understanding or the fullness of the understanding of what it is, but God gave it to you. And so by faith, you pray. You pray for the one who is trying to do the bad thing. You pray for salvation. You pray that they would know who they are in the Lord, that they would be a good, whatever it is, mother, father, husband, wife, whatever it is, that you bless them. You do what you can to pray for the Lord's will for their life. And then, of course, the other individuals as well, the ones that may, and sometimes you're going to have these types of dreams, and it might disagree. It might disagree with your opinion of an individual. And we know this from what has happened with the attempted assassination on President Donald Trump. We know that because of the number of people that actually wished that the guy had a better aim. So you have to get your opinion in check, because you have to have the word of the Lord and not your own opinion to work with. And there are going to be times that you have an idea of something, and God, who has all wisdom, all power and authority, is going to come in and say, okay, you're going to have to check that at the door. You're going to have to take your mind and just set that over here, set that aside. I need your mind set on things above, not things below. We are looking at the eternal realm. We are not looking at this temporal one that's right here. So you'll know that when you see this, because you'll even feel kind of like the, you'll feel the little conviction under righteousness, because God's will is that none would perish, but that all of them would come into the kingdom of his beloved Son. And then the last one we're going to take a look at, the last dream type today, are body dreams. And these are the funky ones that you'll hear people talk about, like, oh, that must have been a pizza dream. You'd hear that, and that can happen if you're eating late at night and there are chemical changes going on in your body. If you consume alcohol, for example, then that can play into things. Pharmaceuticals can play into things because you have chemicals going on. Another way to put it, those would be chemical dreams, because they are fueled and generated, and they can just be the really bizarre ones that don't seem to have really any value to you. You know it's not something of the enemy coming at you necessarily. They're just like beyond having any context whatsoever, and they're almost beyond symbolic. They really don't make any sense. They're real fragmented, and they kind of have a tendency to fall apart. And then also pregnant mamas can have them too, because you are having dreams, and then your baby, I think it's something like 28 to 30 weeks, like somewhere into there, they are getting so much REM sleep, it's ridiculous. So there's going to be all kinds of fun things going on. And so there probably should be a book, there probably should be a compilation book done sometime of pregnant women and the dreams that they had. And there hasn't been anything recorded. It's not like you can interview a baby in the womb to find out what they're dreaming about. But it's amazing that people, when they grow up, that some of them actually remember their time in the womb, and some of them actually remember dreams. This is not a dream, but I can remember Bobby Connor talking about God saving him and God's hand actually coming into the womb, because I think the pregnancy, like they were like, maybe his mom at that time was like had, I don't want to misspeak on his personal testimony, but I want to say that he was that the pregnancy perhaps was going to be ended, and he saw the hand of God literally come in and move him out of the way. So when they were trying to take him from his mama's womb, they couldn't get to him because God's hand literally like reached up and just pushed him over and out of the way. So you just wonder, there's a lot more to that. There's so much more to that we don't even know yet. Maybe someday we will and be able to study that more. So just pay attention to those body dreams that will happen. That at least you have a bit more understanding for some of the more basic types of dreams that you can have. And keep in touch, keep subscribed. There will be more videos to come, and we're going to get into visions and visions of the night and all of that. And it's going to be a real joy to be talking about that, because I'm sure a lot of you are having those and not realizing what they actually are. So God bless you. I hope that this enriched your knowledge of dreams and would also inspire you to want to be great stewards of them, to journal them down, record them on a phone, whatever it is that you need to do. The more you do that, the more you train your own mind to remember your dreams. There are some things God is going to seal up within you that he just needs to get some instruction in there and he'll just seal it up. But then other things you are stewarding so that you can do something with it. So Lord, help us to be good stewards of our dreams, to take them seriously, and to start to mull those over with you in prayer, and to educate ourselves by looking at the dreams that are in the Bible. There are about 21 different dreams that are in the Bible. Help us to look at those. Help us to dream and to honor that which you're giving us through the realm of dreams and the Rhema word that you give to us to work with, to interact with, to learn from, and to apply to our lives and to help other people. Lord, help us do that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and we will see you next time for more Words to the Wise.